All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. I think it has something to do with YouTube. I don't know, or probably my streaming app because I use OBS. But anyways, please let the other guys know that we are over here now, and share the link so that we can get them to continue with the class. And then after that, we just combine like both streams into one, edit them, and then make them a single stream so that whoever it's coming to view can just view all of them in one. Right. So where we left off was the eraser tool and what it does. So it basically erases or gets rid of unwanted areas in images or layers, right? But you have to have rasterized your layer first for your eraser to be able to work on it. Now, moving over to the gradient tool. This is a very interesting tool. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen images like or videos, not videos rather, designs like where you have some different colors fading into themselves and stuff like that. I think I can pull up one of them for you guys to see. So just give me a minute, let me pull that up. Alright, if you're just coming, you've not really missed anything. We're just looking for an image to we're looking for an image to show how the gradient tool works. Alright. Okay, let's use this. Now on this image we have this really nice looking color flowing into the image that we already have. Right. Now how this works is basically simple. All you need to do is, in this case, let's use this image. Select our gradient tool. Make sure that we have a new layer selected or created. And then you set your gradient tool to the colors that you want it to have. Now, if you click on this, you can also click on this line here where you see this hand. Wherever you see this hand, you can click on it to add a new point. And whenever you add a new point, you can double click on that point to add a color to it. So we're going to add different colors. Let's add this orange. Let's add, say, gray. Let's add the last one. Let's add this color here. Yeah, okay. And then let's move it a bit in this area and click OK. Now, all you need to do is select the area you want the gradient to start, click on it, and drag. If you want it to stop here, feel free to let go of your mouse here. But for me, I want it to cover this guy. So I go across, and there you have this soft gray to orange and you know kind of gradient here. Now sometimes it might not be too pronounced for it to actually be visible. All you need to do is you need to duplicate this thing a couple of times, and now it unlocks the duplicate option for us. How do you duplicate? All you need to do is you right click and you see the option here to duplicate layer. Now if you decide to duplicate the layer from here, that's fine. That's two steps. Then you can rename the layer you want to, which is the third step, and then you click OK, and then it will duplicate it for you. Now you see that it is thicker and more pronounced than it was before. Another way to do this is to click on the layer, hold it, drag it to the option, to this plus option, which might be a bit technical for you as a beginner, but I'll show you anyways. Once you do that, it will automatically add a new layer of the one you brought to it. So that is a different way to achieve that. And then the final way to achieve this, and the most efficient way, is holding Control or Command on your keyboard and clicking J, Command J, and it will automatically duplicate the layer for you. So Command or Control J, Command or Control J, and you see it keeps getting pronounced. Now let's just delete all these guys. Now we've seen how the gradient tool works. Now let's move over to the next one, which is the blur tool. Now we have the blur, we have the sharpen, and we have the smudge tool. So people that want to sharpen certain aspects or certain parts of an image. Now this does not naturally mean that, oh, you can sharpen any image that is blur. No, what it does, it sharpens the pixels in the image at the current condition of the image. So if the image is currently blur, it's just be sharpening a blur image for you. Now let's put that to the test. Let's get rid of this layer. Now remember, we need to rasterize our layer. So let me just duplicate, hitting Control or Command J, rasterize it, right click, rasterize, and then select our blur tool. Now you can increase the strength or you can reduce the strength. You can also sample all layers, or you can leave it as current layer. So if you don't sample all layers, it's just going to be selecting current layer. Now if you click and paint, you see that automatically it blurs the tool, or it blurs the image rather. It blurs this image, and now it now looks, oh, this image is not clear, it's not too clear, and stuff like that. So this is how you can actually create a depth of field if you're making a design and you want what is behind the person to look like, oh, it's not that clear, but you can enforce this by yourself by using the blur tool. Now having done that, let's try the sharpen tool. Now just like any tool that you see that has this circular stuff, you can right click, increase the size and increase the hardness. So if you go back to the blur tool, the same thing, right? So excuse me, let's head back to the sharpen tool. It's basically the same thing. Are you seeing? It is increasing the sharpness of the image, but like I said, it does not improve the quality. It only increases the sharpness at the quality that it currently is. So it's not improving the quality, it's just improving the sharpness of the edges on the image, right? So let's undo this, redo this, undo. Undo is Control Z or Command Z. So please do well to note that down. Now after that, we have the smudge tool. Now this smudge tool is one of my favorite tools because look at what it does. This is how you can be able to make some, really crazy effects for whatever it is that you're trying to do. You can reduce the strength, you can increase the strength, but I like to leave it at 50% so it's not too strong, but it's not too weak, right? You can also change the type of, style. It will just, make it look like a finger painting. You see, it makes it look like, you know, well, this is something that you have to experiment with when coming up with designs or when coming up with content for whichever clients that you're working for, right? So, having done this, we're moving on to the next one, which is the dodge and the burn tool. Now, this is also still part of, this is like the final part of the retouching tools. What dodge and burn does is, let's do them individually. What dodge does, right click, rasterize, right, rasterize. What the dodge tool does, it adds brightness, almost like it increases the lightness or increases the highlights of any image that you add. So it increases the bright parts of the image or of the pixel in general. Now, if we say we want to undo, you see that we've dodged this area. If you bring it back, you see that this area is now brighter. So that's what dodge does. And you can use that for maybe your images, you can use that for backgrounds, you can use that for different things as you choose. Then we move on to the burn tool. Now the burn tool, just like the name says, it burns stuff. And when you burn something, what is left after that is the residue, which is the charcoal, the dark, right? So if you want to bring this back to what it was before, you notice that it's taking it back, it's making it dark. You see that this area now is making it dark. So what it does is it actually darkens areas of an image, right? But it darkens them and tries to preserve the um it tries to preserve the light that that image, or that document carries, but it tries to make it dark. So that's the idea of the dodge and the burn. Now, sponge, on the other hand, is kind of like a combination of both of them. So what it does is it tries to dodge and burn at the same time. So let's rasterize as usual, increase the flow. If you watch it, it darkens some and brightens some, and in that process it actually flattens the image. So it flattens the image to an area of no color. So it flattens the image to like where you have like a 50% gray. So it kind of like generally desaturates the image. So a combination of light, a combination of darkness, it's at the center. So what it does, it desaturates the image. Now, using it on this aspect, if you watch, it's removing the color from this image at the same time. So this is the before, this is the after. It's burning and dodging at the same time, and by that it desaturates the image. So there we have our retouching tools. We've gone from our move tool, we've talked about the marquee tool, we've talked about our lasso tool, we've talked about the magic wand, the quick selection and its family. We've talked about the cropping tool, we've talked about eyedropping tool. We've talked about a whole lot of tools today. These are the fundamentals. So we are heading into the input tools, which are like the final aspect of understanding the Photoshop fundamentals before we head into the next, bit of the class in tomorrow. Um, yeah, so the first one is the very most important one of them and very vast, rightly so, because it's called the pen tool. It's an input tool. Why is it called an input tool? The pen tool gives command. The pen tool tells, it also speaks to the brush tool. It speaks to the selection tools. So it's a very vast tool. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Now, let's click on the pen tool or P on the keyboard. Now, if you click on any area of your desktop, a point appears. If you click on the next one, another point appears. What is this reminding us of? It's reminding us of the polygonal lasso tool. Or what this does, or what pen tool does, it gives us freedom to be able to do what we want to do. Now, if you go back to the lasso tool and click, okay, I think we have the polygonal, the magnetic rather. So if you go to the polygonal, which that reminds us of, and we click here, and we click here, it does not give us any room to be able to, oh, I want to just move this particular aspect up. It does not give us any room for changes or manipulation or, to be able to control the output. So what does that do? It limits us. The lasso tool limits us. But the pen tool, on the other hand, gives us the liberty to do what we want, to be free, to explore. Now, let's use that in example. We click on this point, we have one point. We click here. Now, this is speaking to cropping only. Mind you, it's speaking to cropping only. Now, we've gotten this area. If we want to move this area, maybe we did not get it at the point that we wanted to. What do? We hold control. If you hold control, you see, or command on your keyboard, you see that it changes. Now you click on that point that you last clicked on, and now you see that you have control over where you can leave that point. That's the versatility of the pen tool. Now you can continue with what you were doing. You can go here. You've added another point. You come here and click another point. You come here and click another point. It's just following you. You come here, you click another point. You keep going, you click here, 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 and you come back. Remember, on the polygonal lasso tool, we have this circle that shows you you've completed your circle. Now, once you've completed, it does not automatically select just like the rectangular, like the polygonal lasso tool does. What this does is it has told you, yes, you have made your selection. What next? You can either decide to make this a shape, you can decide to make it a mask, or you can decide to make it a selection. So, if you want to make it a selection, you click on selection and you click OK. It will make it a selection. Then you can now, right click, layer via copy, and you copy it out. Or you can decide to make a custom shape out of what you've made. Like you can decide to make a custom shape out of this box. Let's do that. You undo. Let's go. Once we're done with that, you click on shape, because you have three options here on the status bar for the pen tool. You have three options. You have selection, you have mask, and you have the shape. Now we want to work with the shape. If you click on shape, automatically it fills this area with the foreground color, and it makes it editable like a shape would be editable. We are not yet close to shapes, which are also input tools, right? But we started unlocking shapes even before entering to premium standard shapes. So now you can actually edit this. Like, let's look at this area. If you zoom in and look at this area where we have, look at this area um where we have this overlapping or underlapping shape. You can still hold your control on the keyboard, click on this point, and move it to where you want it to be. Bam, that's done. Now you can also add new points to reshape it. And when you add new points, those new points comes with curves naturally, that you can either decide to make curves if you hold control and pull them out, or you hold alternate and make them points, just points. So if you're following me correctly, we can actually add points to already made selections. You can add points to already made parts, that we already made shapes that we've made from our pen tool, right? And we can also minus. If you look at this, you see once you come to a point, you can see the minus feature. Once you click on it, it takes away that point. And in this case, you can undo by using Control Z, the actual undo. So Control Z or Command Z on the keyboard, and it undo the changes that you've made to the part using the pen tool. So this is like the versatility of the pen tool. And also, you can use the pen tool to draw or trace. And that's basically what we've just done. But let's do it in a more direct sense of the word trace and draw. Now we've created a shape. Let's keep this shape by the side. Now we want to write 366. Let's go through the process. Now we click on our first point. This is our first point. We want to write the word 3. You click here and drag. Once you click and drag, you see that it comes out as a curve. But if you just click, it's just a point. So clicking and dragging does what? Clicking and dragging adds a curve, but just clicking adds a point. So we click the first point, click and drag, right? We also come, click and drag. We are trying to write the word 3. We come here, we end, because that's like the center point of the 3. We come again, continue, come this way, click and drag at our curve, and then end by doing this. So we have our 3. Now, if we want to draw using the pen tool, all you need to do is you right click and you click stroke path. Now, what this does is it uses the current size of your brush to stroke a path around this. That's basically what it does. Now, beforehand, anytime you're trying to do this, make sure that you have a very sizable brush from 3 to 10, just like we spoke about earlier, from 3 to 10. So if we go to our brush, hold B on the keyboard, you see that our brush is too big and it's also set to pencil. So you right click and set it to the brush, right click again and set the size of your brush to about, let's say 4 is fine. Your color is set, everything is set. Then you go back to your pen tool, right click, stroke path, and you select the tool you want. So if you want your background eraser, your pattern, your clone stamp, whatever it is you want, but majorly we are using our brush, and we click OK, automatically it creates a stroke around the part you just drew, and now you have your your part created for you. So that's another thing that you can achieve with the brush. Then you can click enter. Once you click enter, it gets rid of the selection that you've made, and there you have your stroke or your tracing or drawing, depending on what you want to do. You can also set the size of the style of the brush. If you want it to be hard, increase the hardness, and then go back to your pen tool, right click, stroke path, click OK, and there you have it, a very hard brush. Right, so now that we have this done, we need to figure out another aspect of the pen tool, which is selection. We've done part, we've done shape. Let's focus on selection. Now, selection is where it speaks to cropping of images or cropping of items. Now, let's use this image. We want to crop this image, right? Now, we're not going to do it all the way. We are going to practicalize using our marquee tool and our pen tool in one go. Now we want to select a certain area of the image that we want to crop out, which is the head. We right click, layer via copy, and that head is now out. We get rid of the other ones that we don't want. Now, this is so you understand how the pen tool works. Let's zoom in. You guys see that this is pixelated. It's not clear, but these are the pixels, and that is because we started our document on a very low or very small resolution, and that's the reason why we're having all these pixels. And it's going to also affect the final output, because the image or the final output of the image that we give out is going to be low quality. Right, now let's focus on using the pen tool to crop this out. Now you start from where you want to end. Make sure that you're starting from the same place you want to end. Let's go. Now remember, if you click and drag, you have a curve. So clicking and dragging gives us a curve, and then holding alternate on a point makes it a what, a point. It doesn't make it a curve anymore. Now let's continue. We click here, we drag, we make it a curve. Make sure that our curve is around the subject. Now we come to the next point, click and drag, make it a what, a curve. Come here again, click and drag, make it a curve. Make sure that the line is at the edge of the document that we're trying, or the image that we're trying to crop. We come here, and we do the same thing, and we keep going. So I'm just going to speed up the process so that we don't waste time. Now we're back to where we started from. So this is a full round selection. What do we do? Once we're done with this, we make a selection out of it. Click OK. Make sure that the feather radius is set to 0. Now, the feather radius is so that it doesn't make the selection soft at the edges. If you set it to 1 or 2 or 3, it makes it soft at the edges. But we don't want that. We want it to be crisp at the edge. Now you click on OK and it makes a selection. Now you go back to your marquee tool, right click, layer via copy. Okay. Now we have the wrong layer selected. Always take note of the layer that you're working on and make sure that that is the layer that is selected. So we select the layer with the lady who is smiling happily, and we right click, layer via cut, layer via copy rather. We have our layer cropped out of the box or out of the white bounding box. So this is how one can be able to crop images professionally. Now, if you want to add this to what you've already done before, let's put that into practice. Let's bring one of you said is your favorite, which is the magic wand. Select the magic wand. Automatically it selects the same colors, right? And now we can easily just move around or move with this. Or let's do it one better. Select the object, and then automatically Photoshop will help us select this subject. Now what do? We right click, layer via copy, we get rid of the former layer, and that is done. Now we are still going to combine two more tools to be able to properly get this cropped out well. If you look at under her arm, you see that this white background is still here. And if you look beneath here, you see that there's still white background here. Now, how do we find out that's the white background there? Let's click on the image, move it around. You notice that once you have it against the black background, you have all these white areas left. So we are going to use 3 different tools to be able to accomplish all these things, starting from the parent tool, which is the magic wand. Start from magic wand. We come here and we click. Automatically it selects all the white areas, but it doesn't do a good job. So what do? We increase the tolerance to about 40. Now we click outside and click here again, and then hold plus, which is shift rather, and add all these areas that are not selected, all the white areas that are not selected. Now make sure that all of them are selected. Also include this area. And then what you want to do in this aspect is to just delete it. So you click on backspace and it will get rid of it. Now that is done. Now you right click and click deselect, or you hold Control or Command and D to get rid of the selection. Now for this aspect, let's use the pen tool. What do? You start from where you want to end. You go in, and then you end. What do? You make a selection, click OK. What do? You hold backspace, rid of that selection. Now you hold Control D and get rid of the selection. Finally, let's go to our lasso tool. Use polygonal lasso tool. Come here to the same thing for this. And then backspace and Control D to deselect. Now this one, let's just use magic wand to get rid of it. So you see that we have different tools that can be used to crop. It all depends on if you know how to use them. Fundamentally, you can use one and end with the other one, just so that you can get a very clean edit or a very clean crop. That's for the pen tool. Now, the pen tool is still a vast tool, like I said earlier on. It has the free form pen tool, it has the curvature pen tool, and it has the add anchor point and then delete anchor point. Now, we've already touched these two, right? But we are going to talk about this one, which is like the lasso tool, the original lasso tool. So let's talk about the free form pencil. It's basically the same thing as a pencil, but this is you drawing in free form, right? And once you're done, you can click on ship. Now, what this does is, in case you're trying to create a scene, a background, a particular type of shape that is irregular, it's not normal to design, or not normal to, or standard to design, fine, go ahead, because you have the liberty to do what you want when it comes to the pen tool. You have the liberty to create what you want when it comes to using the pen tool. Now, let's get rid of that. That's the free form. You can also use that if your hand is stable enough. You can use it for the same reason we've done before, which is to crop. You can also use this to crop. You can try your best to, be as fast as possible to crop and all that kind of stuff. But only if your hand is straight and if you know you have the time. So these are options that you could use the pen tool for. Now, moving on to our type tool. I think this is like the easiest and the quickest one that we can achieve here. This is this is basically what we use in typing this, and you can you can click, hold, and select all, and type whatever it is you want to type. And then you use your move tool to move it around wherever you want it to be. Now, there is one thing that I want you guys to understand. On your move tool, there are two options, or should I say there are two types of designers. The ones that do the selection themselves, or the ones that allow Photoshop to do it for them. What type of designer are you? I'm a type of designer that I like to do it manually. I like to select what I want. But some people just want it to be automatically selected for them. That's fine and that's great. Now, for you to be that kind of designer that allows Photoshop to select whatever it is for you, you have to toggle this option auto select on. So let's see how it works. Now, if I come here and click, it is still going to move the item that has been selected on my document. But if I have this guy turned on and come here and click, automatically it selects this layer that the mouse hovers over. If I come here too and click, automatically it selects this layer and moves it for me. Same thing here, same thing here, and same thing here. Now, how do you use it when it is turned off? Simple. You have to hold Control on your keyboard to select whichever one you want. So once you hold Control, you select, it automatically selects that one. But once Control is not selected, it will still remain with the selection you had made earlier. Let's put that into practice. You can see that this lady is the one that's selected currently. And if I come here too, it's the same thing. If I come here too, she's the same thing that's selected. And she's the same thing that's being moved around. If I want to now select this box, all I need to do is hold control and click on it. I need to select that guy for me. So this is the manual way of doing it. And this is why I like it, because sometimes you might not want to select a particular thing. You might just want to still move this guy, or maybe you can still be here and still want to just move this guy a bit, move this guy a bit. It's just freedom for you to do what you want when you want. Now, we we also have the direct selection tool, which is basically you selecting parts. Now, if you have a part selected, this is what it does. So these lines you see here are parts. Now, if you select this, you can move this part around. It can be done with the pen tool, but if you want to be precise or concise, then you can select the part direct selection tool. It's a newly added feature installed by Photoshop in newer version shop, right? So this is how you can just select and move a certain part of an image around if you want. Then moving over to the shape tool. Now this is a parent tool, obviously. Also it has different shapes. So if you want a certain shape, if you want rectangle, you have this. Now the reason why this is showing up this way is because I have my roundness set at 191. Now on the status bar you see the roundness of your rectangle, so you can reduce it to have a very blocky rectangle, or you can increase it by holding all these corners, or better yet by doing it from here. So that is that for rectangles. Now for you to come up with a perfect rectangle, which in this case is going to be a square, you have to hold shift on the keyboard before drawing. Now if you watch, no matter how I try, it is always going to be a perfect square, right? Now this is how to come up with perfect square, and the same thing goes for circles or every other shape here. If you want it to be perfect dimension, then you have to hold shift on the keyboard. But if you just want it to be free form, then you don't need to hold shift. You see, it's free form right now. Free form right now. Once I hold shift, it's a perfect shape. Now let's get rid of all this. Let's get rid of this. Hide this. Get rid of this. And the final tool, which is, as you can see, the rotate tool. Now, not every system would allow this, right? Because even it happens to the best of us. So what this does is you have to have OpenGL enabled in your document windows, which is this windows you're talking about right now. Right now, what this does is it rotates your document around so that you can have some things done, but it doesn't change your document scope. If I should, for lack of better words, it can rotate the document. So if you're trying to draw a particular thing, maybe you're trying to trace a particular thing, and it needs you to rotate your document, you can actually hold R and rotate your document, and it will rotate it for you. Right, so that is that. And then we have the final one, which is the zoom tool. The zoom tool is if you click and drag a certain area, it zooms into that area on your document. So if I want to zoom in on this guy, only that's what it does. Now that we've had to go over the fundamentals and the tools that we have in Photoshop, and then to also give you the shortcuts for this, for the type tool or for the text tool, the shortcut on the keyboard is T. Now for the direct selection tool, it's A. For the rectangle or for the shape tool, it's U. And then for the rotation tool, it's R on the keyboard. And then for the zoom tool, I think it's Z on the keyboard. See? Yeah, Z on the keyboard. Now that we've had to go over the tools, the first assignment, or should I say assessment, that would be given to you guys would be to create a 10-inch by 10-inch document on Photoshop and type in 366 Design Masterclass on the document and save it. Let's see those that are going to take the extra initiative to be able to save documents. But for the sake of the class, I'm going to show you how to save a document because that's what I'm going to be closing with. How do you save a document? You go to File, you see where you have Save, or you click Ctrl S on the keyboard. Now when you save it, you have different options here. You have Photoshop, large document, PDF, TIFF, and other lists that you'd have in your own Photoshop. So what do? You just click on Save. You name it. It depends. If you've already named it before opening before setting the document, then it's just going to show you the name. And then once you are done, you just click on Save, and that's done. Now to export this as an image, all you need to do is come to File, Export, Export As. Once you do that, it will take a while. Once it prompts you to do this, now I want you guys to pay attention to this. You see that we have our image in 23.3 kilobytes. Reason being that we designed in a very poor quality, right? So all you need to do is, once you're good with all the settings here, you're not touching any settings, you click on Export, select the folder you want to export it to, select the folder that you want to export this to, and then you can now export, save it to that folder, and there, that is done. Now for you guys to actually see what I was talking about, let's just quickly take that again. Okay. Let's try to do this again. Right. So we come here. What we do is basically simple. We go to File, Export, and Export As. Once we click on that, this window pops up. Now remember, like I said, we have it in a very low or poor format, and that's the reason why we are doing it this way. So what do? We go leave these settings the way they are, export export, then we'll see something like this. We go to our folder that we want to export it to and save, and boom, we have that saved as an image. So with that, I think we've come to day one of our class, or we've come to the end of the fundamentals of Photoshop. I don't know if you guys are excited, just as I am, but I am excited, and it was wonderful having you guys. It was really wonderful having you guys on the class, and then I'm going to be seeing you guys on the class tomorrow. So please stick to the time. Try and join if you've not joined. Also, share the link with your friends. Once we go live, you can share the link with your friends. And also, please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you get notified when we go live. All right? So, thank you guys so much, and have a wonderful